Hello and welcome to Speaking with Stephen. Today we're getting friendly with the word discipline. Not the most glamorous word in motivational speaking, but possibly the most important. Lots of expressions coming up. Okay, let's look at the first in context. Keep your nose to the grindstone. This means to work hard and consistently without distraction, to stay focused on the task at hand for as long as it takes. It comes from the image of a worker bent so close over a grindstone that their nose almost touches it. Completely absorbed, no looking up and no looking away. You'll hear it used both admiringly and as advice. It implies a kind of unglamorous, sustained effort, the work that nobody sees, but that everything is built on. Okay, listen and repeat now. It is not on the screen. She kept working quietly over 3 years before anyone noticed, and by then it was too late to ignore her. Okay, now let's see the simple version written on the screen. Okay, now let's mix it up. We're going to add in the target language. She kept her nose to the grindstone for 3 years before anyone. What would be good in there? Okay, I went for took notice and disregard. To take notice actually means to consciously register something and give it proper attention. Disregard means to deliberately ignore something or treat it as unimportant. Okay, now it's your turn. Have you ever had to keep your nose to the grindstone for an extended period? And what kept you going? "2 years building a project that nobody believed in but me. 2 years with no external validation, no visible progress, just the work. What kept me going was a very simple rule. Do the next thing. Do not the whole thing, just the next thing. Okay, next up, to keep a tight ship means to run an organization, team, or household with high discipline and efficiency. Everything in order, no slack, no waste. It comes from naval language, this one. A well-maintained ship runs smoothly. A poor maintained one falls apart at sea. You'll hear this about managers, coaches, teachers, and leaders. It's almost always a compliment, though it can carry a hint of severity. Someone who keeps a tight ship demands high standards and usually gets them. Okay, let's listen now. It's not on the screen. He was strict, but the people who worked for him always got the best results. Okay, let's have a look at the simple version now with it on the screen. Oops. Okay, let's add the target language in now and mix up the words. He kept a tight ship, but the people who worked for him were always the ones who got the, add a word in there. Results. I went for outstanding. This actually means so good that it stands literally above everything else. Just like how a lighthouse stands above the flat coastline. We're getting all naval this time. Right. Try again. Repeat adding outstanding now. Okay, 30 seconds to answer the question. Have you ever worked for someone who kept a tight ship? And what did you take from that experience? My first serious manager. Absolute standards, zero tolerance for cutting corners, every deadline treated as a commitment rather than a suggestion. It was uncomfortable, and it was the best professional education I've ever received. I took it from a version of those standards. Next up, maintain discipline. To maintain discipline means to keep a consistent standard of behaviour or focus over time, not just when it's easy, but especially when it isn't. It's more sustained than simply being disciplined. Maintain implies an active, ongoing effort. You are choosing every day to hold the standard. You'll hear this in sport, leadership, and self-development context. Maintaining discipline when the results aren't coming yet. Let's listen now. The hardest part wasn't starting. It was staying disciplined when nothing seemed to be working. Okay, let's look at the example with it written on the screen now. So read it back now. Okay, let's remix it and add the target language in. The hardest part wasn't, it was maintaining the discipline when the results were insight. What would be good in there? I went for initiating and nowhere. Initiate as a verb actually means to be the one who starts something. Yes, the initiator. And nowhere in sight as a phrase actually means completely absent with no sign of it appearing anytime soon. Try again with those words. Okay, next question coming up. What area of your life requires the most discipline to maintain? And how do you do it? Sleep. Genuinely. Every part of my performance depends on it, and it's the first thing I'm tempted to sacrifice when things get busy. Maintaining the discipline to protect it means saying no to things that feel urgent in the moment. The discipline isn't about the sleep, it's about knowing blah 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 blah. Iron discipline is discipline that is absolute, unbreakable, almost inhuman in its consistency. Iron is hard, cold, inflexible, and that's exactly the quality being described. It's much stronger than simply having discipline. You'll hear this used about elite athletes, military figures, high achievers who seem immune to the temptation or weaknesses. It carries a note of awe, something even like unease. His discipline was what his competitors feared most, not his talent, but his refusal to give up. Very good, let's have a look at that on the screen now. Okay, let's add in the target language and spice up those words. His iron discipline was the thing his competitors most. Not his talent, but his absolute refusal to. Okay, I went for dreaded and capitulate. Dreaded means to feel a deep, heavy fear about something you believe is coming, and to capitulate actually means to stop resisting and give in. Now go again with that target language. Okay, now you've got 30 seconds to answer the question. Do you think iron discipline is something to admire or something to be wary of, and why? Both. I admire the results it produces. I'm wary of what it can cost. I've seen iron discipline up close, in high performers who achieve extraordinary things and couldn't tell you the last time they felt joy. The discipline has consumed everything else. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, in context now. Military discipline refers to the kind of rigorous, structured, non-negotiable standards of behaviour and performance associated with the armed forces. In everyday use, it describes anyone who approaches their life or work with that level of precision, consistency, and accountability. You'll hear this used admiringly about athletes, executives, and high performers. It implies zero tolerance for excuses, total commitment to the process, and an ability to perform under pressure that most people can't achieve. Okay, sentence now. She treated her training seriously. The same routine, the same standards, every day without exception. Okay, let's have a look at that on the screen now. Okay, let's add in the target language and mix up the words. She approached her training with military discipline, the same routine, the same standards. I went for meticulous and exacting. Meticulous, great word, actually means giving careful attention to every single detail. Exacting actually means demanding very high standards that allow no shortcuts. Say with those words now. Okay, now it's your turn to answer the question. Is there an area of your life where you apply military discipline, or where you wish you did? My mornings, I apply military discipline to the first 90 minutes of every day. Same sequence, no decisions, no phone, no news. Just the work that matters most while my mind is sharpest. Everything else can be flexible. That window cannot. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. In context next, enforce discipline on yourself. This means to impose structure and accountability on your own behavior without anyone else doing it for you. Enforce is a strong word. It implies authority, consequence, non-negotiation. Usually we enforce things on other people. To enforce something on yourself requires a level of self-awareness and self-governance that most people struggle with. You'll hear this in coaching and self-development contexts. Okay, next up, listen and repeat. Nobody was going to make him work harder, so he learned to push himself, and everything changed. Okay, and one more time with it on the screen now. Okay, let's mix it up, add the target language in, and spice up the words. Nobody was going to enforce discipline on him, so he learned to it on himself, and that everything. I went for impose and fundamentally altered. Impose means to put something in place by force or authority. Fundamentally altered means to change something at its deepest level so it can never go back to what it was. Try again with those words now. Okay, next up the question. This time it is, what does enforcing discipline on yourself look like in your daily life? And where do you still struggle? It looks like a list of non-negotiables I review every Sunday. Things that have to happen regardless of how I feel, how busy I am, what mood I'm in. Where I still struggle is the afternoon. The mornings are locked. The afternoon, blah 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 blah. Okay, next it's your turn. You've got 2 minutes this time. Start with 1 and then restart the timer. Okay, now let's look at the example answers. In some areas, yes. In others, genuinely not. The areas where I maintain discipline looks like this. A fixed morning routine that hasn't changed in 3 years. A list of non-negotiables that gets done regardless of mood or circumstance. And a weekly review that keeps me honest about the gap between what I intend and what I actually do. But I'm not uniformly disciplined, and I've stopped pretending I am. There are areas where the habit is so embedded it doesn't feel like effort, and there are areas where I enforce discipline on myself every single day with varying success. What I've learned is that discipline isn't a personality trait, it's a system. The people who seem effortlessly disciplined have just built better systems. They've removed the decision making from the equation. The discipline is baked into the structure of their day. So my honest answer is, I'm disciplined in areas where I've built good systems. I'm still working on the rest. Okay, if you need to answer question 2, please go back 2 minutes to start the timer again. The last 6 months of a project that had gone badly wrong. Everything was telling me to stop. The numbers were bad, the team was exhausted, the original vision had been compromised so many times it was barely recognizable. And every morning I woke up and had to enforce discipline on myself, not to keep going blindly, but to keep going thoughtfully, to keep making decisions with clarity instead of letting the exhaustion make them for me. But what made it possible was reducing it to the smallest possible unit. Not can I finish this, but can I do the next thing well? That's all, just the next thing. And I did finish it, not brilliantly, but it was finished properly, and there was something in that, a kind of quiet integrity that I value more than I would have valued quitting cleanly. The discipline to see something through, even when everything argues against it, is a particular kind of muscle. You only know you have it by testing it. Okay, if you are yet to answer question 3, please go back to the start of the timer now. The principles do, the culture selectively. Military discipline at its core is about clarity, clear standards, clear accountability, no ambiguity about what's expected. And I think those things have enormous value in everyday life, particularly in professional contexts where vagueness breeds mediocrity. The part I've applied universally is the insistence on following through. In military contexts, you do what you said you would do, when you said you would do it, to the standard that was agreed, not approximately, not when it's convenient. That's a standard most civilian environments are embarrassingly far from. What I'd apply more carefully is the culture of unquestioning compliance. The greatest failures of military organizations have come not from too little discipline, but from too much difference. People following orders they knew were wrong because the culture made dissident impossible. So the standards, yes. The follow-through, absolutely. The suppression of honest judgment, that's where it gets dangerous. Excellent. That's all 6 finished today. That's a lot of discipline. Thank you very much. We are finished. If this has been useful, please subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.